Hi, it's David Shummy at Fix a Frame again, and I just wanted to have a quick look at how we fix a medal in place. I've just been doing this this job. It's a weightlifting, bodybuilding medal, and what I've done, I've cut a little slot here for the ribbon to go in, and it's actually gone, and I've put it in between the two mat boards. So I've already done that bit. But what I need is something that's going to actually hold this but not do any harm. And one of the little things that we use in picture framing that works quite well are things called mighty mounts. And little mighty mounts come in a variety of types, and what they are is basically little clips that we use to fit pictures. Now there's all sorts of different ones. There are little ones that sit up like this. There are ones that are little clips that are useful for holding small pieces of jewellery and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these little step ones and mount it around this medal so that we get it in place. The first thing to do is you actually mark where the medal's going to go. Now I don't want a lot of tension on this ribbon because I'd like it to actually puff up a little bit here at the top so that it just sits up out of the hole quite nicely. So I'm lifting that medal up just a little bit so that we've actually got a little bit of the ribbon itself is not supporting the medal. That'll actually help as well with longevity, that we're not applying a lot of weight to the ribbon that'll break down over time. So what I want to do is put that medal in position, and it's going to sit centrally. What we do is draw a little line just where the medal goes. You actually scribe a line. You can rub these out afterwards. And what's going to happen there is we're going to use the little mighty mount. Has a it's about a 2.5 millimeter size, or possibly about 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch in diameter stem on the bottom of it. And what happens is that stem has to go through the mount board, and on the back we put a small clip. So we'll have a little look at how those clips go on in a minute. The position for putting the piece is that the center of that stem is the actual edge of the medal. So you need to make a hole that is 3 millimeters in diameter at halfway between the edge or that line. So you actually scribe the line of the circle, and then we put a little hole into the board. And what I want to do with this one, I'm going to have to use three clips to hold it. So we're going to have one up in the top here, 2 on the bottom. Actually, we may even use 4. Choose 1 there, 2 there. So just deciding whether I'm going to put a clip just down on the bottom piece and 2 on the sides. I think we have to go 2 on the sides just to support the weight. Actually, we're going to go one on the bottom there. So I'm going to make a little hole. I'm just using an awl for this, but some people would drill a hole, but I just like to put the hole all the way through. Now you can do this before you actually have the piece on the board, but I found it quite easy because I want to actually get that slackness there that I've put that ribbon through already. Now at that point, that is where that stem is going to go into the board, so I need a little bit more hole, a little bit more size to it. A little bit again. You don't want it particularly loose. That's going to work. And the actual mighty mounts I want for this are the small ones. So there are different sized stems in each of these packets. So I'll just open a new packet. In the packet there's a couple of things. There's a little piece that's used to push the clip onto the back of the Mighty Mount, and this is a multi-purpose pack, so there are a few different ones in there, and the ones I'm going to use are just these small ones. It'll work up to be the thickness of the metal itself. It's going to fit quite well. And then there are little back clips, which are these metal collars that go on the back of the Mighty Mount. So we're going to use 3 of those. Still need a little bit more. So that bottom mount's going to sit there. And then we're going to put the other thirds. .95 up from the bottom, just checking my sizes so that we get everything looking just precise when we do the job. And 95 there. So make my other holes. Yeah, sometimes drilling those can be a good thing. In fact, when I've used the awl like this, often the overflow on the back, I'll just pull that one back out. If you use a flat blade, just one out of your mat cutter or one out of your knives, you can trim off on the back there. When I've pushed through, I've got this little collar or little piece of waste that's come through with the hole. I just trim around just to cut that off. I don't want that to get in the way of the actual back when we fit it. So those pieces just go. So we've got our holes here on the back, our holes on the front. The metal's going to sit here. We can then put our little pins in. Now I could have opted to put the 2 sides to the base of this one, but I actually like the idea of it sitting, because it's got this loop on the top. I think it'd be nicest if it sits just on the one piece on the bottom, and rather than have that extra hanging out. So I'm going to put that last one on there. A little bit more of a hole. They've got to be snug because you want them to hold the actual metal firmly. So a little bit tough sometimes to put them in. Now, there's a degree of flexibility in it. Got to just push that back into place. So our metal is actually going to sit like that, held by the little clips that we've put in. It's going to be able to sit there, and they're going to support the weight. So our ribbon is now not taking the weight. What I do is turn it over when I've got it in position, and we've got these little stems sticking out. The little ring goes over the Mighty Mount itself, and by pushing with our little hollow section there, we're able to force this spring washer onto the Mighty Mount. Now then, after you've done this, of course, they stick out a little bit, but what you can do is you can just cut them off. So the trick is to make sure that they're as far down as you can go. I'm working on a little bit of a soft surface here, so I'd actually like to do it on something a little bit harder so that I can get that last one on. So now what we've got, of course, are these spring washers holding the clips, and then that's actually going to hold this metal in position here. Now I think I'm also going to put a little stitch just around the ring here, really just to stop it from moving, because I'd like to just see that sitting there. And it's actually quite a nice method of mounting something so that you do actually see the clips, but they're in no way obtrusive on the metal. When we go to put this in the frame, we're now going to build up a little box, and it's going to go inside a box, and there's a photo that's going to go in the side here. But basically, that is how we mount the metal using the Mighty Mounts, and all I've got to do is clip, and I'll show you what we do. I use a pair of wire cutters just to cut the back end off the Mighty Mount, because I don't really need them sticking out. So just little wire cutters. And all I do is I come in and I cut the back end off that like so. So then it doesn't take up a lot of room inside the picture frame. We're ready to put everything else together, and I'll show you what it all looks like when it's finished. And I hope you've enjoyed looking at how we use Mighty Mounts to hold a metal in place in a picture frame.